Hey guys, Jim with Jeffrey here. So today I want to talk about a common issue of lower back pain which athletes often experience across their movements. So the type of lower back pain which I want to address today is a form of lower back pain which occurs because you're slightly hyperextended. What I mean by that is, say on a deadlift, as you set up into position, you've set up with a flat back. But then people they think too much of the cue chest up, think chest up, and you can see that there becomes an arching in my lower back. So I've switched to a side view here, and hopefully you guys can see that even though in this position I'm in quite a safe, solid, strong position, I've got a flat back. But because people, they often tend to overemphasize having like the chest up and forcing very strong, having a very flat back, they tend to overdo it. So essentially they think chest up too much, and you see that it becomes an arch in my lower back. And straight away I've already felt a very strong pressure in my lower back. And so this is also applicable for like Romanian deadlifts, barbell rows, even squats, where the position they're in, they place too heavy of an emphasis of having the chest up, and then they actually, instead of being completely flat, they go into a state of hyperextension and arch in the lower back. So how do we go about fixing that? So the cue that I like to use in order to protect the lower back and put your back into a position where it becomes much harder for you to accidentally extend the back is called the chest to pelvis cue. Essentially, how I like to teach it is place one hand on your chest and one hand in your pelvis region. Now, what you're going to do is essentially you want to bring your two hands closer together, like so. And you can see that by doing that, what happens is my upper back actually rounds. So you see my upper back rounds down, but upper back rounding isn't an issue. And where we're concerned is the area that we're concerned, or we are always concerned with, is the lower back. If the lower back is too hyperextended or the lower back is too flexed. So by performing this cue and the chest to pelvis cue, it will round the upper back. But what you can also observe is it puts our lower back into the most optimal position. As long as I maintain this chest to pelvis cue, it is almost impossible for my lower back to arch unless I actively raise my chest up. You can see that by raising my chest up, my back will arch. So that's why we keep this chest to pelvis cue down. Now, how do we apply this to, for example, the deadlift? On the deadlift, in that starting position from standing up top, so say a common flaw is you can see, for example, in an exaggerated sense, if I'm starting in this arch position and then I hinge back down like that, there's going to be that arch in my lower back which we want to avoid. So in this starting position, I like to go chest pelvis. I'll perform the chest to pelvis cue. That rounds my upper back and puts my lower back flat, puts it into a great flat position. Now from this point, I'm going to hinge down, but I'm going to maintain having that chest to pelvis down cue. And you can see from here, my back is in the optimal flat position. The only way for that arch to happen is if I untuck that chest to pelvis cue, and you can see straight away, arch occurs. So this cue, this chest to pelvis cue, it's also applicable to a range of a lot of other movements. Say for example the squat, where I see a lot of lifters, because of their starting position in squat, they're very hyperextended, their chest is up and they're already in a state of slight arch and they don't even realize it. They think that my back's straight, I'm feeling great, my back's straight, I've got my chest up, back straight, but actually in fact, they've got their back arched. So in that starting position, before you get under the bar, I like to teach my athletes chest to pelvis down. Essentially, you're rounding the upper back to protect your lower back, because when the upper back is down, it's almost impossible to put your lower back in the arch position. So chest to pelvis down, and from this position, then get under the bar and go through your motions. So that's all from me today about the chest to pelvis cue. Feel free, I highly recommend playing around with exploring it if you've got currently you're feeling back pain in a lot of your movements, especially movements like the deadlift or barbell row. Feel free to try it and then see how it goes. So that's all from me today, guys. Hopefully that's helpful for you, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.